Eyup, cock. We're back. Right, League One predictions for this weekend's games. And I know I say this every week, or it feels like I do, but there's some big ones here, some big old games. Starting with Cardiff, Plymouth at AF12 on Saturday, first one. Cardiff, really good start. Obviously, the top at league, they've won 4 out of 5 games and drawn once. Now, I've watched 2 full nights of Cardiff. The team that I've watched most apart from Barnsley so far, in Peterborough game, first one, and then Port Vale. And I weren't overly impressed in either game. But they just keep winning. The Luton win away is mad. That's serious. That it really sets tone for what they actually are. They're no pushovers. Because Luton so far, they've not even conceded a goal at home. Never mind, dropped a point at home so far. But in the bits that I've seen of Luton as well, they look like they're missing certain parts. So I think it's maybe a good time to play some of these teams that have come down. Obviously, not settled side yet. Still got a lot up in air with transfer window finishing on Monday. But that's a really impressive win, that, for Cardiff, And they've got quite a good mix, I think, of obviously youth that they've got, because they've got a lot of kids playing from their academy, and their academy's quite good. But then they've got players like Robinson and Chambers in and around squad. Even if they're not playing, they're in and around squad. Lads that have been there and done it for years. I think it's a really good mix. And at home, these are cooking some at home. I don't think this is going to be an easy game for Plymouth by any means. They obviously started really poor. They finally got the first win in league as well last weekend against Blackpool at home, so it's about time. And they went to Swansea away midweek, obviously, and lost on penalties in Cup. I feel like this is... I'm either leaning towards a Cardiff win, narrow, or a draw. And it just depends on what Plymouth are now. I've not seen Plymouth since first game against us, and they look very weak defensively. But by everything that I'm hearing and seeing, they look like they're getting better game by game. So it's a tough one to call this, and especially with transfer window closing on Monday, like I've said, there's a chance that certain players just might not be in squad because they're going to get sold. Do you know what I mean? There's always that's hanging around you last game before transfer window finishes. It's a toughie this, to get us going, which I do like. It means it's going to be a good game. It's exciting. You don't know what's going to happen. But if I were to pick one right now, I would go a narrow 2-1 win for Cardiff, I think. I do think it could be a draw, and from my personal opinion, I want Plymouth to win, because I think Cardiff, now, realistically looking at what the teams are, I think Cardiff are more of a threat to promotion than what Plymouth are. But I do think Cardiff will win game, sadly, from a Barnsley perspective. The Caravan Derby, Donny and Rotherham. Straight off bat, I'm not an attendance shagger by any means, because we're going to start sounding like his neighbours around here. But Rotherham ain't even sold out this away end. Do you know how mad that is? Which does speak testament as well to how poor they are. Like midweek against Barnsley, obviously Rotherham lost at our place, but first half they were really good. Obviously, second half, once we brought some of his lads on and started actually playing football properly, then we won anyway. And I think that's 7 times in a row we've beaten them. Like, Rotherham are just as whipping boys. Donny obviously started really good. They've come out at blocks quite fast. They did lose 2-0 to Huddersfield, like a couple of weeks ago now. But then they went to Port Vale and won. They went to Accrington Stanley away. I know it's only a League 2 side, but they won there as well with a clean sheet. A lot of experience, good manager. Again, though, there's a slight possibility that we're centre-half or that Molyneux might just not be in squad and they've got an illness or a tight quad on Saturday. And I think that is quite a worry for him going into Monday's deadline, that there's a chance that your better players just might not be in squad. Rotherham obviously ain't got out to write home about apart from Nombe who's injured, so Rotherham are in no danger of that, but the team's crap anyway. I do make Donny favourites, like fairly comfortably as well. I will look at recent history though, and just recent games in the last couple of years. I think that's important with a derby, because if someone's got someone's number, then I do think that plays into account. And Rotherham have won, actually, the last 4 times that they've played each other. Rotherham have won 5 out of 6, with Donny winning 1 out of them as well. No draws for a long time. And you're looking at 2017 for the last time they drew each other. And obviously Rotherham have slapped them about in a few of them games as well. But Donny would just in pits for so long. I think now tide's turning in this sort of fixture and what I expect from these two teams. Donny is so much better than them. The personnel's better, the manager's better, the fans and everything. There's just a feel-good factor about Donny at the minute, as you'd expect from a title winner. On Rotherham are just down in dumps, and again, completely understandable. But I look at Donny and think they're favourites for this, and I think they'll win 2-0 with little to no goal threat up front from Rotherham. They did look quite good, the wingers, against Barnsley. But Donny are better defensively than us, no doubt about it. Like, not even up for debate at all. And I think they will win 2-0 because of it. I think it'll be a narrow game. Not so much, I don't think it'll be a big slap about like Rotherham have done to these in recent years. But I think Donny will win 1-0. Donny 1, Rotherham 0. Right, let's get into a proper game. Barnsley and Huddersfield, 2 real sides. Oh, I'm shitting my jocks. Tell you what, right now, I would take a draw. 100%. I won't even go to game. I'll shake you on right now. We'll take a point each, put it on table, and just move on. I don't even want to go. I'm scared, because it's a big game, early doers, and I think Huddersfield are feeling the same sort of way about this. They are a very good side, Huddersfield, a very good side. But we've played a few of them so far in the season anyway. Bolton, obviously, we drew against at home, but we had 10 men for a full half, effectively. And they're going to pose a different sort of threat to us than what Huddersfield are. Bolton weren't that arsed about having ball. It's just they were really good on counter, lightning on breakaway, how fast the wingers are. Huddersfield haven't really got that sort of pace, but in middle at part, they're very strong. But again, I think that's where our area of expertise is really in middle. We look really good there. And I think we might cancel each other out because of that. I said the same thing about Bolton. I think we might cancel each other out in middle. It then just comes down to, realistically, can we break their defence down? Because defensively, they're very good. And I think we're considerably better going forward than these. They've got 2 more goals than us so far, but I think by the time it's done, we'll have a lot more goals. But defensively, these are miles and miles clear of what we are. Again, thing is with us, you never know. Dunn might not be in the team. Like there's Preston, Blackburn, Luton circling around him. It won't surprise me if Middlesbrough come in late on. So there's always that. But I think if everybody's in this game and fit, I think a draw is just absolutely nailed on, personally. And again, I think it's one where both teams, both managers, both sets of fans, I think everybody across board will sort of just go, shake your hand on the table. Thank you very much. We'll see you in 6 months. And I will go for that because of it. I will say Barnsley 1, Huddersfield 1. And I would take it, baby. Give me that point and get away from me. Blackpool and Bolton. See, there's some big games here, you know. Blackpool have obviously started quite poorly. They've got 3 points from 5 games. So it's quite a shocking start, really, by their own expectations. But these are 2 of like your bigger sides. Again, your 2 like top 8, 9 sides in terms of club size and expectation and everything. There's been some really good games so far. Bolton, though, have come off back of 3 draws. Now, Barnsley were the first of 3. And I think, obviously, coming to our place and getting a point were good. Because realistically, if we'd have kept 11 men up pitch, I do think we'd have won. But for him to get a point after we had 10 men for that long, I think we're good going. Then to draw it home to Reading, were very poor. Like, I watched this game. It were awful. Truly bad. The both goals were crap, realistically. They're both deflections. And I think Bolton just lack a bit of bite at top end of pitch. But that's been known for ages. If you'd have had a proper striker in Bolton, you could be looking at double the amount of points that they've got. And then they drew it home to Lincoln as well last weekend. So, Lincoln have had a good start as well. Lincoln out a bad side. But if you want to get promoted, you've got to beat these sort of teams like Reading and Lincoln at home. Especially if you want to be challenging right at top. Because when it comes to like Huddersfield playing these sides at home, they will win them all. I do think though, defensively, Blackpool have looked very shaky so far. They've conceded most in division by some margin, to be fair. They're on 12 goals conceded in 5 games. Conceded 4 to Exeter. Obviously 2 to Huddersfield. Even in a game that they won, they still conceded twice. And that worries me. I do think Bolton's wingers, again, despite obviously not doing a great deal in the last 3 games, they've only scored 1 in the last 3 games, but they've conceded 1 in them all as well. Hence the 3 draws, in case you know how that works. But I think Bolton's wingers will have a lot to say. Like, there's not a lot of pace in that Blackpool backline anyway. And I think they'll be shot for confidence. They've lost 4 out of their opening 5 games. I worry for them here. I think Bolton could and probably should break the 3 draws in a row curse now. I think they should come here and win. And I think that should be the expectation. But I don't think they will. I think it'll be 4 in a row. I'm going to go 1 apiece for the 4th game running it for Bolton, which will put them quite far behind title favourites and chasers at top. But yeah, I think it'll be a decent point for Blackpool as well, just to sort of give them a break from constantly losing. But I go Blackpool 1, Bolton 1. Bradford and Wimbledon. Bradford obviously shit up. Like, they've started really good on 11 points from 5 games. They're one of only 2 that's unbeaten so far, them and Cardiff. Wimbledon obviously bet us 2-0 at weekend. I think defensively they are quite strong. They're exactly what you expect and exactly what we've been saying for a few weeks, Wimbledon. Defensively good. Good on set pieces. Quite fast on break. They're just quite a well-drilled side, I would say. And I'm not just going to look at them and think, oh, they're one at smaller size. They've just come up from League 2. Like, they should be easy pickings for a lot of teams. Because I don't think they are. Defensively, they look really strong. They've conceded 3 goals in 5 games. And one with that edited own goal in first opening night against Luton, which were very unlucky. I just think they're quite a good side, Wimbledon. Bradford, though, obviously very strong. They've started really good. They've won every single game so far this season. Even in cups, away at Blackburn and Stoke, 2 championship sides, have gone and won fairly comfortably in both. They bet Stockport away, Luton at home, Wycombe at home. They've bet some really good sides and some of your favourites at top. But the 2 that they've dropped points to are away at Northampton and away at Peterborough. Probably the only 2 games that you would look at and think they are favourites for that game. And I think this is the exact same thing. I think Wimbledon are going to come here and think we're going to have to just sit back, absorb a load of pressure, and it will suit their game as opposed to Bradford's. And if it were anywhere else and I was saying this sort of thing, I would probably give Wimbledon a win here because I think they're just playing to their hands, Bradford. But the home aspect is something that I can't ignore. It's going to be rocking again, as you'd expect for a side that's been dwelling in League 2 for ages when their expectation is a top League 1 side. And to come up and start really good, to be playing really well at Cups, just playing well in general, I think it'll be bouncing. But I think this is the most nailed on 0-0 I've ever seen in my entire life. A ball draw. I hate saying it. It's a bit disgusting. But I think Bradford 0, Wimbledon 0. And I think that is what Wimbledon's game plan will be before they even got up bus. So I will say that. Burton and Luton. I'll tell you what, some of these fixtures, even though they are like good ones in terms of the personnel that are playing each other, I'm just feeling draws across the board for loads of these games. Like Luton have not started well, but by their own expectation, they are currently 11th in league. They've lost twice, and they were both away, and both without scoring a goal. So that worries me, especially when Burton at home are half decent anyway, especially going towards back end of last season. They had a really bad spell in and around November, December at start when Burton were just losing loads of games last year, where they just lost loads in a row at home. But then they picked up a lot towards back end, and it's carried on so far into this one where they've been alright so far. 2 home games in league against Mansfield and Port Vale, 2 sides they'd expect points from, and they come out of it with 4 points. I think Luton will struggle to break teams down like this that are just going to sit back and defend against you constantly and try and hit you on a counter. They've got a bit of quality Burton that I think could help them. Obviously, there's the Webster aspect, and he's had like interest in him. Might not be playing in this, you never know. But I think if Luton are to win this, it'll be to 0, and it'll be from just constantly trying to grind a team down that are defending non-stop. Similar to the Wimbledon one on opening night. I think it'll be that sort of game if Luton are to win it. But I don't think they will. My immediate thought coming into this is that Burton, despite looking at them and thinking, this is a semi-pro nothing side, they're a good team. Seriously, these are a well-drilled side, and I'm glad that we got them out of the way when we did. Because at home against these, it's just like playing someone like Burton at home. But I think this is another 1-1. I don't know if I'm going crazy or what, but the majority of games that I'm seeing here, I'm just fancying draws for them all. So I'm going to say it. Burton 1, Luton 1. Right, this one, to be fair, I think there might actually be a winner. Exeter and Peterborough. Now, the thing is with Peterborough about them obviously selling all the players, and I've said it about a few of the teams I've spoken about so far. You've always got the chance, this close to deadline, that some of your players might not be playing and they'll just be getting sold day after. Peterborough, though, have got no left. They've obviously got Collins, who is, by a landslide, their best player. When I watched him against us, he was the only player that looked like he had functioning legs. Rest of him just look awful. But it's got to be said, man, Exeter are just equally crap. Exeter are crap. They've got some decent points to start with. They're on 6 after 5 games, which really ain't bad. But they're just such a weird side. I do think if Peterborough are to ever actually win a game, then it needs to be against someone like this. And obviously they got a point against Bradford, like fairly late on at home. But away at somewhere like Exeter, I just think it's not a place that teams want to go. Like Exeter and Plymouth. Maybe I'm just completely stupid here, and players don't think same as fans. But I just don't think you want to get on a bus for 4 hours, regardless of where you're going. I just think it's like, they must look at these two and think, I can't be asked. I don't want to go to Exeter. I'd rather just stop at home. I'll pull out. Oh, I'm injured. Oh, God, no. Probably why I'm not a footballer and I'm sat doing this. But I just don't think they'll be up for it. Like, Peterborough looks so down in dumps. They look like they can't be asked for the most part. There's no belief in what Ferguson's trying to do. There's no belief in level of play that's being brought in. And I just think it's a complete mismatch. And it just screams an Exeter win. Like, regardless of the fact that Exeter are quite poor. And again, I won't be surprised with a draw. But I am seeing an Exeter like 2-1 win here. They're quite a dodgy side, Exeter. And it suit the current schedule of loss, win, loss, win, loss. I think a win is like the next in this long line. Peterborough would then be 1 point from 6 and in a hell of a lot of danger with Monday coming around corner. But I think Exeter win 2-1. Orient to Northampton, however. Oh my goodness me. Now, Northampton did actually win a game against Exeter, which I'm quite surprised at. But again, if you can't beat someone like Exeter at home, what games are you truly going to win? And Northampton are just worrying me. Like, I were a big rooter for them last season because of like Cameron McGinn and players like that who's been at Barnsley before. And I just think the team warrants to be higher than what they actually are. But the team this season looks considerably worse than last. Whereas Leyton Orient have come off the back of a 4-1 loss to Mansfield. Now, I think if memory does serve, I'm sure I said I think Leyton Orient win that game. So just don't listen to anything I'm saying, lads. And because of that, obviously, I'm going to say that I think Leyton Orient are going to win this. I think they're a miles better side. I think they've got a considerably better manager, better players, better everything. There is literally no reason why I should sit here and think Northampton are going to get anything. Leyton Orient should win this comfortably. So they probably won't. But I'm still going to say it anyway. I think they will win 2-0, Leyton Orient. But do not bet on this game. You know when you're thinking about putting your acca on a weekend, just ignore this one completely. And definitely don't listen to anything I'm saying. Speak of the devil. Literally? Oh my god, guys. Actually, Callum, that's an imp. Shut up. Lincoln versus Mansfield. Now, Mansfield 4-1 winners at weekend, and in league, they've actually won the last 3 games in a row. Scoring a lot of goals. They're on 10 so far. It's joint top, actually, with Huddersfield. That's really good going. But Lincoln, to be fair to them, have started really well. similar, if not exact same sort of style of results to Barnsley. They went to Wimbledon and lost 2-0, same as us. But they bet Reading at home, Plymouth at home, Northampton away, and then got a draw against Bolton. So they've had a very solid start for a very experienced side, especially defensively. And this is where Lincoln getting picked to bits consistently. And they just always seem to be fine, or like challenging in and around like the playoff picture, top half. They're always sort of there, aren't they? They're very well run. But Mansfield are no mugs as well. Like, obviously, we just spoke about the amount of goals that they've scored. There's only 1 point separating them so far after 5 games. It's 2 decent sides. Neither of these will be even close to bottom, even 8. I think they'll be so far clear at any sort of trouble leads. They're both a good sides. But what do I actually think the score will be? Because that's why we're all here. I don't know. Which, again, is making me think it'll be a draw. But I'm not going to say it. Just out of pure spite to like the video that I've done so far, I'm not saying a draw. I think if either side I'm leaning towards Lincoln, probably just because of the home aspect, and I do think that counts for something. I think there'll be goals in this, to be fair. I will go 3-2 to Lincoln. Be a good game, that. Reading and Port Vale. Oh, my goodness me. Now, I'll just speak about the Reading side of things first. Because obviously, like I said, I watched the Bolton game, and I thought they were awful. Reading, like, truly awful. Bolton should have won 1,000,000% one game. And it's not even a case of Reading. I'm not going to sit here and say that they defended well, because I don't think they did. How they've come out of that with anything, I truly don't know. And then in just standard Reading fashion, they went to Wycombe game after, and Lewis Wings just scored a screamer. Now I'm going to sit here and say, how can you just constantly rely on that? That could not just be a viable method to try and get points. Hey up, Lewis, every time you get ball, just hit it. But it works, just all the time. So, like, they've got this cheat code. If in doubt, edge at box, green time, finish, goal. Literally every time. But Port Vale, obviously, they went to Birmingham midweek and won away, which is mental. But in league, they've not had the best of starts. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, Tolaj leaving really does not help, especially going forward. Like, that's a lot of the sort of flair and attacking threat gone just at once like that. They need some lads in and quite quickly. Don't think they'll have enough in really for this game to warrant them winning. But I do think these are 2 fairly level sides. I'm not going to lie with what I'm saying at a minute. Port Vale are just very well drilled. The thing that I would say about this game here, Port Vale, I do think as a team are probably the better side. But Reading have just got Lewis Wing. And that is literally, that's all I've got to go off here. Because if in doubt, if Port Vale are just sat defending and they're just low blocking and they can't break him down, Reading can't break him down, they will just pass it to him on edge of box and he will hit it. And one will go in. One will just fly into top corner. So because of that, despite me not wanting to say it, I'm going 1-1. I'm going for another draw. Reading 1, Port Vale 1. Stevenage and Wycombe. No longer our table toppers. Stevenage, it was lonely at the top, my friends, but you will never get there again, probably. They lost 1-0 away at Huddersfield, which is one of the hardest games in division, in fairness. But they never really looked like they got going. I think they were just penning in for majority of the game, as you'd expect from a side as good as Huddersfield in this league, really. And especially at home. So there's no agenda from me. I've got nothing negative to say about Stevenage at all. I think they're a good side, defensively good, obviously. But when you just constantly defend it all the time in a game, you're not going to get many chances to go up and get a point, are you? I do think that'll be different here, though. And I'm not just going to pile on the classic of, well, they've lost this game, so that's it. They're just going to lose every game for the rest of the year. I think Stevenage is still a much better side than what Wycombe are. Despite Wycombe, they've started picking odd point up now. Like, they've still only got 2 out of the first 5 games. But they went to Donny and got something. Lost at home to Exeter, which is mental. And then they'd got a point off Reading as well. But Wycombe have had, like, apart from the first 2 games, really, they've not had an hard start at all, Wycombe, by, like, this league standards. And they're sat on 2 points. I do think this, looking at it on surface, is a mid-table clash, if I'm being completely honest. And a draw is normally what I would say for something like that. But I do think, with Stevenage quite clearly to me being better side, Wycombe have obviously got a lot of money they've sat on, so they could have made some lads by the time this is here, but I don't think they'd start anyway. The Kone aspect is big still. I make Stevenage fairly decent favourites here. I would probably go a 2-1 Stevenage win if I were picking, which I am, because that's what this video is. Stevenage 2, Wycombe 1. And then finally, Wigan and Stockport. Stockport been quite weird. I'm not going to lie. Like, they were 2-0 up away at Leyton, Orient, drew. They lost at home to Bradford, and then they were losing at home to Burton, had a man sent off, and ended up winning game. Like, they're just such an odd side. Now, this was obviously a game 3 days ago, at the time of me recording and posting this, and Wigan won 1-0. But when you actually look at the teams that they're both lined up with, Stockport, quite a rotated team. They did start low and, like, a couple of the defenders, but it was quite a rotated side. Same as Wigan, in fairness, but I think Wigan put more of their starters out than Stockport did. And Wigan obviously went and run out 1-0 winners. But again, fairly even game. And I do think once you're actually starting your full teams, which they're going to be both doing, I'd imagine, on Saturday League, I think it's going to be more leaning towards Stockport. But at the same time, I don't think there's going to be loads of goals. Wigan defensively are good. Like, tickle at net's obviously good as well. They do get odd game where they concede a couple, to be fair, Wigan. But I don't think this will be one of them. Stockport have started quite iffy. They're not really in the groove yet. Once they do get in it, then I won't want to be in the way. Once that train starts, I would not want to stand in front of that thing. But for the right here and now, I am going to go another one. Not a 1-1 this time, but it's another disgusting one. I'm going another 0-0 where we're going to Stockport to see the League One predictions video out. But that is, in fact, that. Absolute pleasure. Love you all, boys and girls. Kiss. Make sure you like, subscribe if you do enjoy. It's been a pleasure. And I'll be live on Monday at 6 o'clock to see transfer window out if anybody fancies it. So I'll see you then. See you in a bit.
I say I'm a man, yes, I'm a mucker. I think of me son as a right good looker. I say up that. Show us bit it.